I do believe we are live. Let me just check here. I'm gonna see what it looks like on the social media side here real quick. See if it's got us
Well,
popped up
this
here.
we
If
are
anybody's
first time.
watching this right now, be prepared for our first go around here on this. So, which I don't see it showing us live.
Well, I see live on your screen.
Yes, I do. I don't know if it's going to show us live or not here. Let's see here.
Just stay live. We'll use this as a demo. If we have to cut it short, we'll cut it short and restart.
Live. Yep, it's showing us.
Okay.
We are live. Yep,
well,
we're going. We're rolling.
You're going to be handling a lot of the comment side tonight. As you know, I am Bluetooth hands-free. I am on the road. I'm out here with everybody else. So, welcome to the FOPT, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Otherwise, us as the group, we call ourselves the Federation. We just shorten it a little bit, or FOPT.
Federation of Professional Truckers is what we
are. There it is. This is our first go-round with going live across several stream medias.
Yeah.
Bear with us.
Live on YouTube and TikTok. So
bear with us, folks. We're going to do the best we can. We hope that you follow along. We hope that you enjoy tonight's free go-around, so-called, so to speak, test. Y'all are test subjects.
This is true. This is true. I do probably ought to do something different here. I'm going to double check this and see how this works here. Popping over here to the other side, if I can change something around so that I can maybe read. Something's going on with our connection. It's showing. That's the problem.
I'm not sure what the problem is. I'm showing full bars here, man. I am loaded to the gills.
I think it's something on my side over here. What I do need to do, though, is I think I'm going to have to make myself a mod or something like that for this. Oh, we just swept all around there inside here.
Yeah, we sure did.
So, okay, hold on a second here. Let me get in here. I probably should have done this ahead of time, huh? What's this doing? If anybody is watching this, they're probably laughing their ass off right now.
Oh, let them laugh a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's Thanksgiving Eve. You might as well let them have some fun. They're going to be stressing in the morning trying to get their turkeys fixed.
Yeah, no, I don't have an issue with it. I'm just saying they probably are. So, let's see here.
While our CEO, Mike Cobb, is working at trying to get all the ducks in a row, being it's our first time live across so many different social medias, let me tell you a little bit about the Federation. Federation was born about 5-6 months ago. A group of truck drivers, along with a small fleet carrier, came together and decided that we've all kind of had enough. Just like all the truck drivers out here on the open road, we know that things have been going on for a very long time. We knew 30 years ago what was going on. We knew 20 years ago. We know today the same game is being played over and over again. The Federation is here to drop a boot and say enough. We need one group, and this isn't just the Federation. This is one group of individuals. This is a collaboration. The Federation is just the beginning. This is a collaboration of professional truck drivers who have had enough, who are willing to start at ground level, not run to DC right away, but start at ground level, do the work, get the work put in, and actually make change. This is a complete restructuring from the way that the trucking industry is run today. We know that there are major issues. We know we are overregulated. We know that mega carriers, mega corporations have been taking advantage of professional truck drivers for decades. We know the major conglomerates such as ATA have been basically the puppeteers for where we're at today, and groups like them. We know that there's special interest groups that have put their hands into the trucking industry and have made drastic changes to it that really aren't necessary. We hear the word safety all the time, and safety is not safety, it's actually money. We need to make a difference, and the Federation's here to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and the thing of it is, let's talk a little bit here about, you know, what we are trying to do with some of our stuff with the Unity and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, we have some groups out there that want to try to portray themselves as they are open to any and all ideas or thoughts. But we know one right now. We're not going to throw out any names right now. If you go back and watch any of their videos over the last week or two, if you do anything to disagree with their exactly what they have going on or don't have going on, if you if you say that what they have is not going to work, you are immediately chastised, you're thrown out of their group, so on and so forth. I can tell you, I know this from personal experience. I literally just tried to say, hey, this isn't going to work. And turn around and I was like, boom. And then it was a matter of, we're just going to boot you completely out. This was after I left as an admin because I had, after the nonsense that went on with the degradation of a couple of female drivers that were in the group, due to the fact that they had a differing opinion. And the statement that was made that we aren't a team. This is my show, basically. That sealed the deal for me. We are.
We know this. We know this is a commonality.
Well, we want to build a family here. We want to build a family. Like some of our videos that we put up here on FLPT and stuff like that. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to build a family. We're also a family's going to help all of us come nonsense that we have going on in this trucking industry. And it's, from the top to the bottom down. We literally, I mean, if you go back and you talk about the ATA, you literally had the leader of the ATA sitting up there a few months ago on the Senate Transportation Committee, right along with OOIDA's representative, Mr. Pugh, and he claimed that there was a huge driver shortage. And then we have it coming out all over the media now that it is a matter of, they're now saying there is no driver shortage. Well, how did we go in a few months with we're removing drivers, we're removing carriers, and when I say we're removing drivers, obviously everybody, the big topic right now, a lot of times on people's minds and tongues is the English language proficiency or non-domicile CDL situation that's going on. And when you go through and you're removing drivers like that over and over and over and over again, and then we're obviously not having that massive influx at the same time. Freight's still getting moved. I haven't heard anybody complaining about they're out of toilet paper like they were during COVID.
Well, let's dig in.
Upset about their bottled water. I haven't seen. I have been to many a truck stops over the last few months since this all started, and I've not seen any of them out of fuel. Let's
chase a rabbit hole for just a minute, if you don't mind chasing a rabbit hole with me. Okay, let's chase a rabbit. Let's chase a rabbit hole. Okay, and this is going to upset a lot of people, and that's okay. Let's look at history. I want to look at history. I want to look at the last 200 years in the United States. The last two, since the birth of the United States has been a mixing place it's been a mixing pot of every religion, every nationality, every shape, size, form of a human being has come from literally the entire globe and basically gathered here for a better opportunity. That's what this country promises. This country promises for a better opportunity. And there are a large, massive percentage of these people over the last 200 years who have come here just for that reason. Just for that reason. Yes, have they came here speaking English? No. Most of them that have come from, it doesn't matter, from the South, from the East, from the West, even from the North, have not spoken a word of English. They bring their own tongues here. But they have adapted and done their very best to learn the culture of the United States, and their children end up picking up the language and learning it. And we have gone through this phase 100 times, and everybody still picks on the non-English speaking people. Some of them people are amazing, amazing people who just want a better opportunity and a better chance for them, their families, their loved ones, their children. You cannot stop pointing fingers at them. If you want to help them, and we do, as the Federation, give them an English class that they can take and let them continue to do their job while they take the course.
And that's what on
the flip side, and this is the other side I just want to touch on briefly. And I'm going to make this comment bluntly, but everybody points at the non-English proficient truck driver on the road, and they say they can't read the street signs. I'm going to make this comment very, very clear. 90% of the truck drivers who speak English still do not follow the street signs. So I don't want to hear, when the lane says lane merge right ends in 1 mile, and you see 1,500 trucks racing the left lane to cut everybody off. They can speak English clearly.
Yeah,
and they did it anyway.
Every one of those drivers that's in the right lane when it says the right lane ends, you can't tell me every one of those drivers that is racing up through there is a non-English speaking person. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm gonna bullshit. I'm gonna call
exactly.
Bullshit. So
you're being.
I had this conversation with another guy that's on TikTok here. What's your ETA driver? Really good guy, really knowledgeable guy. I'm giving a shout out to him. I know I don't even think he follows us or knows much about us, but if you want to learn some stuff and you want to have a good conversation with somebody in trucking, he's another one out there, folks. If you're listening, go right on over there to What's Your ETA Driver. He's a really good guy. But I remember having this conversation with him that's one of the things when this all kind of first started, we were talking about on one of his lives. It's the fact that, if we're going to sit here and bitch about the fact that we have drivers that are going through and they can't read the signs. Okay. If you all would use the smartphone that you all are watching us on right now, most likely and through TikTok or YouTube or the computer you're sitting in front of, if you would take that same device and please do me a favor and search, I would like for you to search what the different traffic signs look like across the world. And
that's a good one.
Are almost universal. Now, I can say I do agree with the fact that speed limit is not the same 2 words in all languages. So, yes, there is a difference there. There is also going to be a difference with like the construction signs we just talked about of the right lane ends. But this is the thing where we have to have some compassion for our fellow family members. And that's what we need to start looking at each other as family members out here. Because we're all in this together, I mean, it's like when you listen to Pablo and I the last podcast that we did, and we were talking, he's talking about over there in Europe and stuff. And so like, if you go through and you break down, you change the tire right there because they have the tire on the truck, but it's like what it used to be back in the day for us when you would see another driver or two show up and be like, hey man, you need a hand,
Well,
Because I don't know how many of you guys and gals out here that are driving semi have ever done it, but I can tell you I've done it. I've also worked as a wrench. Changing tires is not exactly the easiest thing, and especially not alongside the highway when you got 15,000 idiots that don't want to move out of the right lane because they're in that much of a hurry to save 15 seconds off of their time that they cannot slow down, back off a minute, and get behind somebody and potentially save somebody's life. Because how many times do we hear and see those different reports on the freaking news about this tow truck driver or this truck driver or this police officer or, you know, this firefighter or EMT or construction worker? Well, I mean, you know, it amounts to all of that. All these people get hit because nobody wants to move over. And this is where we go back to the English speaking thing. I literally, this is going back. I still remember a few years ago here when I blew a tire up in Michigan, and unfortunately, the company I worked for at the time, they used super singles on their trailers. And when it popped, everybody knows what it's like when you pop a super single. I mean, you're done. You know, you're just done. You're not, and there's no point in being ridiculous and trying to drive it down and limp it down the road on a rim. You know, so just pull it over. Well, it happened to be on the left side. And there was absolutely no shoulder on the left side. One of those areas, you know, you see like maybe 2 foot between the yellow line and the median grass. But the right side you had somewhat possible. So I got over as far as I could. And I mean, I even had my right side completely off into the gravel, still trying to keep it into an area where it's safe and the truck's not going to move or roll. But we were still fairly close to that fog line. And these drivers in Michigan, I'm literally standing there with a safety vest on. I've got my flashlight, and it's an extremely bright flashlight. I mean, it's bright as the strobes you see on the top of a cop car. And I've got it on the strobe set to where it's just sitting there doing that constant flash. And they're still staying in that right lane and not moving over. And I got a guy right here that's trying to take a tire off of my trailer so we can get it down the road.
Yeah.
And they won't move over. Finally, I just started walking out into the lane. I'm like, I'll get hit before I'm going to take the hit before I let this guy take the hit, you know? And then I had some lady that wanted to literally start cussing me out because I was in her fucking way. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm watching, and I was watching her come down the road, and she's hugging that fog line. It's not even like she was trying to hug the zipper. She's hugging that fog line. And it's like, are you literally, like, and you can see her swerving, you know, so you can tell that she's, you know, obviously either one, not paying attention, or two, is inebriated, or potentially both, because we know how, you know, 98% of the people, it seems like, out here on the road can't seem to hold it together for 5 minutes to drive to work in the morning, you know. You know, but it's that right there, you know. And the thing of it is, he put signs out. He had them big pink signs that they use that says emergency crew ahead or whatever it says, or emergency repair truck ahead. You know, the sign's almost as big as the back end of a semi. You know, how do you miss that? How do you miss the truck that's got all these flashing yellow and white lights and green lights on it? You know, what? And you can't tell me that this is an English language proficiency problem. You can't.
No, this isn't a driver distraction problem. It's a driver distraction problem.
Michigan, they're English. Exactly. It's a lack of respect, and there's no consideration for others. That's the other problem. There's no consideration for others.
Right.
And this is where the consideration for others that we're talking about here, of trying to bring everybody together. I don't care what your political ideologies are. I don't care about your race, your religion, your creed. I don't care about any of that. What I do care about is are you a truck driver, or are you a family member of a truck driver? That's what I care about, really. If you aren't that and you still want to come support us, I'm not going to turn you away. But my cares and my concerns are with the making of the changes in the trucking industry to make it better for my brothers and sisters out there and for their family. That is what my care is. That is exactly what I want to do. That's what I want to see happen. You know, and that's what we all want to see happen. I shouldn't just say me here. We literally have it as we, the FOPT, for a reason, because we are a team over here. We're not like some of those other ones out there that, you know, don't want to do a team. Sorry, Tiffany, I'm just seeing who is that? Who is that about? Well, you're not even on here anymore, I don't think. Let me look and see who's up here. No, she's already gone. I'm assuming she was probably wanting to know who that was. Well, You're breaking up there, Bubba.
Yeah, I know. Give me just a minute, man. Bear with me. I'll let you take control for just a minute or two. I'll be in a better reception area here in just a minute.
No, you're fine. You're fine, bud. You're fine. What we could do is
listen. We need to.
Go ahead.
Well, we need to keep in mind something very, very easy to understand, and it goes to any truck driver that's paying right now, anybody who's mentioned right now.
Oh, we lost him. I'm gonna have to see if I can try to get him back here, boys and girls. Oh, let's see if we can make. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's coming back in. There we go. Did you get it back, brother? Yep. Hold on, man. You're still not exactly in the greatest there. I really probably ought to move this over here for my so I can see the comments when they pop up. What's that? Did we hear you?
You put me in any comments.
There you are.
Yeah, sorry, folks. I'm out here on Mississippi, so it's a little touch and go for the next few minutes.
You're all right. You're all right, man. You're all right. No, but see, and the thing of it, so to talk a little bit about what some of this is going on, it's no different than the conversation that you and I were having before we hopped on the live here, and we're sitting here talking about what all is going on and such, and the different things that are out there. What is I have to ask, and I don't know if anybody's I mean, I can tell there's nobody really paying attention right now, but we're gonna move on because this is our podcast and we're just doing a podcast live. So it's one of those things. So I don't quite understand the fact of the needing to copy everything that goes on. Because I literally heard last night somebody, we have a website called WeTheFOPT.org. And then now all of a sudden we have somebody coming around and they're starting up their own. They're going to start up a website that says WeTheTruckers.com. It's like, can you get some originality, people, please? I mean, I know they say that imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but I really don't like when people try to, imitate. I really don't. Get some individuality, get some originality, please, for Christ's sakes. It's yeah. Oh, we lost him again. Are you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Sorry, folks. If you're trying to do a live broadcast while you're driving, don't do it. Drive Mississippi.
Yeah, that's yeah. Especially if you're on the back roads. If you're on a highway, you're fine. But yeah, so.
Well, I'm on US 49, man. I'm cruising. It's just facts.
I can tell you, I've been on US 23 trying to make phone calls and talk to people, and yeah, that wasn't happening. I just ran US 441 the other day talking to our chief of interpersonal relations on the phone, and it was going in and out, going up that. So, and it is a 4-lane divided. So yeah, that's one of those things.
We're gonna yank it over here in about 10 minutes, so just bear with me just a little bit longer, folks. I trying to make time, get up into North Dakota by Friday morning, so we're hauling. The one thing I do want to say to everybody out there, there's a common statement. No two drivers agree on the same thing. I call crap. There are a million of us that agree on all the same things. The only thing that divides us is a mindset. It's just a mindset. Uh, do we need a higher education? Yeah, well, absolutely. We need a higher education. We need more time in classroom. We need more time around these trucks. For all these new ones, they don't need to be coming out here white knuckling. They should be at least confident enough, not competent, confident enough to be able to go down the road on their own. And a lot of them that are coming out here new aren't. And that is a lack of education. That is a lack of understanding, so on and so forth. The mindset I'm talking about is the simple. Here's the simple fact: you go into battle and you're facing down an enemy that a million different people disagree with. Are you going to care about the man that's on your left or the man that's on your right or the woman that's not going to be on your left or your right? Are you going to care about their religion? Are you going to care about their, their anything that they consider themselves? Or are you going to care enough to realize that it's just as much their enemy as it is yours? All differences put aside, that's still an enemy. And it doesn't matter who's standing beside you at that time. It doesn't matter whether you like them or not. Your commonality is a better life for you and your family, the same with theirs. And the only way to achieve that is for everybody to stand shoulder to shoulder. And I'm not going to use the word unity anymore. As far as I'm concerned, the trucking, these 501c3s and these startup.
No, hold on though.
I was
501c3s.
What's that?
Most of them aren't 501c3s.
Well, no. I'm just saying. I'm
TikTok and stuff. They're not even. They're literally out for nothing but themselves. They're taking all the monetization from TikTok and putting it in their own piggy bank. They're not doing anything to help truck drivers. So
I absolutely agree.
501c3 there.
But let's get away from unity. Let's get away from that word because that word has become toxic. Let's use community rebirth. Let's rebuild our community. You look at smoke eaters. You look at nurses. You look at any community, a farming community. One farmer, if a tractor breaks down and that crop is absolutely peril to that farmer's family, making sure they survive, the farmers in the area will more than generally show up and help them get that crop in. More than generally. I can almost guarantee you 90% of the time, the farmers around that area will show up with equipment and help them get their crop in.
Yeah.
Smoke eater. When a smoke eater, there is a, when it comes to firefighters, there is a phrase, you go, we go. That basically means if you're in trouble, we're in trouble. I don't leave unless you're safe, I'm safe. That's all there is to it. As much as it's going to make everybody go, the police departments ain't no different. Okay? The police departments back each other. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen a police officer in the wrong and their brothers and sisters will still back them. It doesn't matter how you want to look at it. They're backing their community. Now, trucking is our community. Trucking is ours.
I get that.
It belongs to the guys that are rolling up and down the road and the men and women that are rolling up and down the road. It doesn't belong to anybody else.
Well, see, this is the thing. You kind of got to look at the you kind of got to watch that whole thing there of the dealing with the cops and being wrong and stuff, because there needs to come a point where, as a family member, we are holding each other accountable.
I agree.
I agree. We literally, we just had a little issue there in a group there a few days ago, and I held myself accountable.
I'm just talking about the inter-communities inside.
When you're wrong, you're talking about how when they're wrong, they still back them. That's a problem, because a lot of times when the cops are wrong and you're backing the cops and they're backing each other, that's wrong. You know, if the cop
Well,
overdid
I agree.
their abilities,
Okay,
that needs to be.
let's
So
let's switch this. Let's switch scenario. Cops in trouble. 15 show up. They
yes,
call for help
yes,
or officer down. It is awoken a hornet's nest. When a
yes,
firefighter,
you have.
when you hear firefighter down, 15 will rush to what under any circumstances. We saw it with the tower. Okay,
Yeah.
if you want a prime example of heroism and community, go look at the towers, and
Yeah.
that'll tell you. Smoke eaters, these smoke eaters, and the forest fires. One doesn't.
I think we lost you again, Bubba.
Apologize.
There you go. There you go. You're back. You're back. You're back.
A smoke eater, a smoke eater team. They get divided. Us, ladies and gentlemen, they're done. The risk of losing the entire team goes through the air.
Yeah.
The trucking community is what is, and that means shoulder to shoulder. We all have commonalities. Overregulated. We know that the rich and the megacorps are controlling things. Look, you can look at as much as you can go look at the 2-hour window that we have to give up. Every truck driver has to give 2 hours of their time for free for every load before they can even start charging detention. Do you think that was a truck driver that came up with that? No, that wasn't a truck driver. That was mega corporations who made a deal with shippers and receivers in order to make sure that they can get their product delivered. That wasn't a truck driver's decision. No truck driver is giving up their time for free.
No. And the thing of it is, there has to be, how do we say this? There's a give and a take. There's a give and a take, as far as the 2-hour thing goes, yes, there's a little bit of a problem with that, but I think the biggest thing that we need to look at with that is making sure that everybody's getting paid and getting paid a wage, if you will, or a rate that's going to be profitable. Because when they sit there and say, like, some of these ones, I mean, I know of people that are literally going through and they're having to absolutely having to, like, bend iron, if you will, to try to get the detention pay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna call one out right now. Post over in freaking Bloomsburg, PA. I don't know what it is about this one set of detention that they got, but I'm still waiting on payment for sitting at it for 18 hours back in April.
Yeah.
Now, I will say the other people that I work with, the other traders and stuff that I work with, they paid it out of their pocket, and they just went, we'll just go back onto them about it. But when I did this one load over there, that was a broker load, which, the brokers I deal with are really good brokers, but they can't force Post to make the payment. And they're notorious, absolutely notorious for not paying. And it's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. I mean, and it shouldn't be that way, but apparently for some reason it is. So,
well, my point is my point I was trying to make is we all agree that there are major issues, and all the issues that are on the table, and there are several. Every truck driver out here on the road is in agreement with them. Now, I don't care whether you follow us. I don't care if you believe in us. We've got things to prove. We're new. We're only 6 months old. We have a lot. We have a lot to prove. We have a lot to do. Hold us accountable. And let's see what we can do. And that's what I'm telling all of you that are listening. Watch what we do. Hold us accountable. And if you believe in us, come follow us. If not, there's 1,000 people out there. What I am gonna put the warning out. And for those of you that don't know this, maybe new to trucking, there are people that use the word unity that have personal goals, personal agendas, financial agendas that are going to utilize certain speech and certain ways of talking in order to meet their personal agendas. And they will use you until there's nothing left to you to use. And then they will disappear, go off the grid, go into hiding, go in, and they'll, I promise you, the ones that are looking at you right in the eye right now that are saying, well, I'm never going to do that, are probably the ones that are going to do it. So I'm asking you just to pay attention to who you're following and why you're following them. If it's just promises, he has not made one promise to any of you, not one. The only thing that we have put out there is that we will fight. The only thing that we have put out there otherwise is that we will be at match 26. Now, we're already trying to be there. Our pay are already made. Our booth is already set up. We will be right down there by the food court. Come check us out. If you go match 2026, you'll find our booth down there just sitting right next to the sign-in place. We're there. We will show up. We haven't made you any promises. We're not going to make you any promises. We have fighting to do. We have work to do. We have positions inside our organization. We have a couple of ideas for those individuals, but they have not come to pass yet. And it's going to take time. Core. Do we have a good group? Absolutely. We have phenomenal with the intelligence that this woman and her have on what has transpired in their lives as far as a small fleet. We have a CEO, Mike Cobb. He's right there in front of you right now, who has the ability to dig deeper information that most people can't find. Has the ability to do articles that is informative and educational. We have individuals on the artistic side. We have individuals where Pablo Guerrero, he has actually got education on 2 different countries as trucking is concerned. Have amazing group, and there's spots open. Absolutely, there's spots open, but we're not taking just anybody. Agendas are the way organization. This is not going to be one of those.
I'm trying to look up. Somebody put up here, pastime for a change did is that Freight Slaughter would fix this with court of public opinion. And then if there is no cost, people shy, they would rather pay establishment. I don't know what that last one is, and I'm going to try to look up this Freight Slaughter that he's talking about here. Well, the website is a 404 not found, so apparently the website doesn't work. Let's see here. Do we have anything that we can? I don't even know. I'm looking here, trying to find something here. Trying to find something about Freight Slaughter. I don't know. Don't really know. Yeah. Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got that we can read? I don't need to have videos here. Oh, let's see here. Freight Slaughter. I can't find anything about Freight Slaughter. I don't know what that is. I'm trying to look that up. It's a blacklist. Well, so, okay. Let's talk about this. This is the same thing that I've heard people talk about with brokerages, and the fact that they have talked about, if we go through and we try to get the original rate from the shipper, then we are going to get blacklisted. Um, you know, this is where the issue that I've talked with some people, because I know some people in the bulk industry, and they, I'm not going to get into the argument, but there's a couple of the brokers that I work with over there, and people hate their guts. And I can tell you right now, they have treated me well most of the time. We've had a couple of disagreements, but I've never seen any two people be able to agree on exactly every single thing. And the blacklist on that, I just don't see that working. But in the reason being is, if they are if they are somebody who is stealing or not paying the drivers, like this freight theft that we hear about from the overseas brokers and stuff like that, and some of the more unscrupulous people that are doing those things. It's not just for carrier or brokers, it's industry standard. Well, so this is where I'm getting into this though. So everybody has an opinion. Okay. And this is where the blacklist has a problem, because everybody has an opinion. And it's like I'm talking about here with some of the brokers that I deal with. In the fact that there are a lot of people that are in the same genre of the industry that I am, and they don't like those brokers. And I don't have a problem with them. I mean, I reach out to them all the time. I'm in an area and I'm trying to get back to where that I can pick up another load, and I'll call them and boom. They're like, well, so this is what it is. And they don't try to sugarcoat it with me. Sometimes I'll call them and they'll tell me, look, I just want to let you know, Mike, you don't want this load. It's crap. It pays nothing. It's terrible. It's whatever. They let me know ahead of time. But, this is where I will tell you from time to time, I'm not going to lie. I will take the loads. It's, well, I understand that you're saying it requires proof and is verified by a human. I understand that completely. I really do. I get that. But this is where we're getting into personal opinion. And it's just, you're getting into, if one person says this, because I can tell you, like I'm saying, if you go through, and I would say probably a good majority of the owner operators or carriers that are in my genre of the group there don't like the brokers that this one broker that I deal with. Well, actually a couple of them, they don't like them, and I still deal with them. And if you blacklist them, now you're affecting my family's livelihood. Now you're affecting my family's ability to pay their bills and eat. So if you go through and, it's kind of like that statement, who died and made you God, to be able to blacklist somebody. It just doesn't, I don't agree with it. I understand you say it might require proof, and I understand you say that it's either verified and it's verified by a human, but I'm still saying, if you were to use that same mindset with this couple brokers that I deal with that treat me very well, then if they're blacklisted, that means I can't run for them. And that means if I can't run for them, that means that I don't, we go there. No, we call the other side. Well, I understand that, but so this is where you're going to get into. So if you were to call over, we'll just say this, okay? And I'm not going to put their name out there because I don't feel like dealing with that drama tonight, but we'll just say this. If I go through and I'm the one, broker A bunch of people call in about broker A, and broker A is the broker I'm talking about that I do a lot of business with. And they call in and they say, we don't want to work with these people. We need to blacklist these, blah, blah, blah. Every broker you call, they're going to tell you, no, that isn't the case, because there's three sides to every story. There's side A, there's side B, and somewhere in the middle is the truth, which is that third side. And this is where that blacklist gets to be a problem. It's just, you can run for whoever you want to. Fair warning. Well, those are called ratings. The DAT, which I'm not on the DAT board anymore, but when I was on the DAT board, they had ratings over there. I know hop loads that I've dealt with, flat loads, bulk loads, truck stop, motive. What's the other board that I've been on? It's slipping my mind. Every load board that I've been on has had a ratings. And I can tell you this, if you go in and look at some of the ratings that are up there, I'm getting paid, but there's people on there saying that they haven't made payments. They've paid every one of my invoices I've sent in, minus some of detention. But that detention, I understand that process. I understand that deal. So
we're seeing flux. We're seeing a change.
Hold on. Let me answer this. Okay. So everybody you just named is part of the not monopoly against us. Those are load boards. All they're doing is putting loads up there. They have no control. They have no control whatsoever of the rates. They have no control of any of that. Actually, that helps certain people because there are aspects of that. I'm not on it because I don't do a lot of the reefer side and flatbed and van freight, but I do know that they have very good analytics over there that you can look at the areas of the country, and they're even color coded. I believe Bobby Loads just did a whole live episode on that the other day. So, it's bro, look, okay, so they're on the board of directors for ATA. Yeah, so is every shipper. You do know that almost every shipper is part of the ATA, right? You do realize that, right?
Yep.
Go to the ATA, all the shippers are on there. See, this is what a lot of people got to start to realize about this. The shippers actually have departments that go through and they monitor the freight lanes. They monitor what it is. And so they already know ahead of time what they're pretty much going to get that load moved for. Because yes, there are some out there that are like, well, I got to make $5 a mile, $5 a mile, $5 a mile. And then there's some of us out here that own businesses that actually have a business acumen to us. And we are actually able to be smart and profitable about it and don't think we're going to make $1 million. So yes, periodically those loads come through. So, I hate to tell you this, them putting the load boards don't manipulate the rates, but I hate to tell you that. It's the brokers and the carriers. The carriers manipulate the rates because we have carriers that will go through and start cutting every other carrier out there. When a load will hit a board for $4, and somebody will come through and go, well, I'll haul it for $3.50. And another one comes along and says, I'll haul it for $3.25. And another one comes through at $3. Before you know it, the load's getting hauled for 75 cents. Now, I'm not saying that that's right, but that's a carrier problem.
But that also goes to what we have said many a times. If it's not going to pay you per mile that you need to meet your operating costs and health, all you've got to do is say no. Most of the freight, and we know the areas. Okay, every professional truck driver knows the areas. Bad one. Texas can be bad. California is bad. Colorado is bad. There are states inside the continental United States that are absolutely with getting loads out as far as rate. Do this, and people are not getting this. You leave the freight on their docks
as well.
Yeah. Well, it's the shipper doesn't send it to the broker until they've already cost assessment.
That's what I'm talking
about. They already looked at. They've got they've got 10 years of data that says that truck drivers that come to Florida have no problems with pulling their freight out for $1.06 a mile. They're not going to offer $2.25 when they know that for the last 10 years they've been pulling it out for $1.06. All you've got to do is say no. I don't know how. Yes, I'm the weird one. I take a load down to
part of the
Florida that pays me well.
The DARE program. That's the problem. We're Gen X and we had the DARE program. so we understand what just say no means.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
you know,
pulling it up
you
there.
take a load down to Florida for a mile, you know you're making money, and usually what you get is the broker following it up, going, "Hey, listen, we paid you well going in. Can you suck one up and take one out for like $1.20?" No, I can't make my fuel costs. I
Okay.
can't make my truck payments. Period.
So let's talk
Say
about
no.
this here. So we right here. He literally, the numbers you're rattling off tell me that you don't know how much the brokers are making. I don't care. I'm also going to tell you this. So not only do I own a trucking company, but I also own a construction company. Okay. And I'm going to tell you this one right here. And I know Chris over at Blue Ribbon's already covered this one. And I literally about fell out of my seat. I was laughing so hard when he was talking about it, because I'm right there and I know exactly how it goes. When I go through, if I go in, whether I'm using subs or I am a sub, depending on what the project is that I'm working on, I don't care about whether or not how much the electrician is making. I don't care how much the contractor is making. Matt went away. Oh, Matt's coming back. There we go. Are you back in here now, bud? Are you there? Here we go.
Yeah, I'm here. We had a technical difficulty.
Yeah, you're all right, but no, but so it doesn't matter to me if I'm a subcontractor. I don't give a damn how much the contractor's making. When I go in and I go to, we'll say that I get hired on, or somebody comes to me and say, "Hey, I need you to tile a couple of bathrooms. We got a couple of big custom bathrooms going on. Need you to tile a couple of them." Okay, I'll go in there. I take some measurements. I sit down with the customer, which a lot of times that's both. Excuse me. The contractor and the homeowner, and I sit down with both of them and I have a full idea of what it is that they're wanting done. When that's all said and done, I come back home to my office and I write out, this is what it's going to cost me to do this job. And this is what I need to make to be profitable on this job and be able to pay my bills. You need to be able to do the same thing in trucking. This is where business acumen that I'm talking about. I don't give a damn, and nobody else should give a damn about what somebody else is making, because we all have different bills. We all have different lifestyles. There are some people that want to live in a 7-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms. And then there are some people that are perfectly fine with living in a single, like 3-room cabin in the middle of 100-acre woods. And all they've got is a living room, a bedroom, and a kitchen/bathroom. And I'm going to tell you, that lifestyle there is a totally different thing. Do you know what a broker is? Yes, a broker. So if we're going to talk about what a broker is, we started off in the 1930s. They were called freight forwarders. And then now, as a broker is a person or entity that is contracted by a shipper or consignee to get their goods moved for them, and they use that person or entity to do that at a set cost. And then, so what happens is, let's break this down here. If you go through, and you know what, I'm going to go back to what I was saying, and you can say whatever you want to say here, past time for a change. I'll get to what the definition of a broker is. If you know what your costs are, it doesn't matter. I don't go back to the contractor. If I were to go through, and as I'm going through and I'm writing all my stuff out, and I come out and I look at the load and I go, yeah, or look at the job and I go, man, okay, so those 2 bathrooms, one's going to cost me $15,000, one's going to cost me $10,000. So, and it's going to take me about 3.5 weeks to get the job done. And so for 3.5 weeks to pay my bills and put money in the pocket, I need to have another $7,000. So between all of that, that means I need to make $32,000 to put money in my pocket, pay all of my bills, both business and personal. I got to make $32,000. So I go through and I say, hey, I'm going to need $33,000 to do the job. And when the contractor looks at me and says, yep, we'll do that because we know you're one of the best and we're going to get it going. And I go in and do the job. Now, if it comes back and this contractor says, and I find out that he's making $500,000 off that job, I don't care. It's none of my business what he made off of that house build. It's not a damn bit of my business what he made off that house build. because I made the money that I said I wanted to make. I made a contract with somebody. I gave somebody my word that I was going to do this job for X amount of time, and I was going to do it to the best of my abilities. And I will tell you this, I also put in all of my contracts, I warranty everything I do. So if you call me 3 years down the road and say, hey, this water line you put in over here when we put in this jacuzzi tub, it just burst. Well, I'm going over here and fixing it for free. So all that money's coming back out of my pocket to go over there and fix it for free. So if I didn't do it right the first time, it's going to cost me money down the road, you know. And I also carry full insurance on it in case something really bad happens. I have general liability insurance to the tune of about $2.5 million. So yes. Now to move on from that, on do you know what a broker is? That's got to be about one of the most asinine questions I've ever seen. I've been in this business for 28 years, dude. I got my license in 1997. I've been an owner operator for 5 years now. So I know what a broker is. I deal with them every day, Bo. And I'm going to go back to the original thing that I was talking about.
Brokers actually
freight forwarders. What they are is they are somebody that is hired by a shipper or consignee to get their freight moved at a certain cost. That broker tells that shipper or consignee, yep, I'll move that load for that. Sometimes they're telling other carriers that too, though. It depends on the contract, how it's wrote, so on and so forth. So there's a shortage of contractors. So we'll go ahead and bring in 60,000 H2Bs. Bro, I can introduce you to about, 15 different contractors just in my area right now that use all immigrants for their work. My next door neighbor,
welcome to America.
Down the road here, she literally just had her roof redone. And I'm going to tell you right now, that crew of Mexican fellas right there were some of the best I've ever seen run around on a roof. They come in, rip that roof off, put it right back on. It was literally done. It was ice guarded properly. All of the gutters were freaking protected ahead of time. They pulled all of her gutter guards off. They went through, cleaned out every piece of gutter that she had, including all of the downs and all of the drain outs. There was not a single nail left because she asked me to come over with my magnet. I walked that yard 4 times. You can
welcome to America.
The thing of it is this. We are full. This, I hate to tell you this one in case you haven't went to history class here in some years, but this entire country was founded by immigrants. Okay? Because unless you're a Native American, and that means you're part of the Iroquois, the Cherokee, the Cheyenne, the Sioux. I'm not going to try to name every single tribe out there because there's a lot of them, and I don't want to misspeak. But unless you're part of one of those tribes, you're an immigrant. You came over here, or your family or your ancestors did.
America.
So yeah, this nonsense about H2B, it has nothing to do with that.
The H2 the H2 visa, everybody is all up in a roar about. It is a distraction, folks. This is a distraction. This is sleight of hand. This is nothing new. This is old technique. This is technique that Washington has perfected for 200 years. That's why you see something on the news. Johnny Depp was all over the news for 2 months. Do you have any clue what took place in Washington, D.C. for 60 days? Not a clue.
No.
Do you understand? This is the technique. And if you can't look back at history and recognize that America has used immigrants for all the way back beginning as cheap labor from get-go. They did it with, and I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, then I do apologize. They did it with the African Americans. They did it with the Chinese. They did it with the Irish immigrants during the famine. They did it with. It doesn't matter the nationality. They did it with every single nationality and immigrant that has come across the border, because when you're an immigrant and you come to this nation, you have this mindset that you create something better. Your work ethic is 20 times higher than any American's work ethic will be, because the work ethic of the American people over here, if you weren't born in Gen X or you weren't born in, any time prior to that, where hard work was actually ingrained in you, you're not going to have the work ethic that these people are coming over here willing to do in order to have the same life that you have. And that is History 101. And if you can't take into account for History 101, then you shouldn't be taking and fighting against the immigrant. Immigrant is very easy. It's a very easy solution that everybody is complicating. Oh, well, we're against the immigrant. We're against the immigrant. Why? Because they don't speak the language. Millions over millions of people have come here not speaking the English language, and it's always been the next generation that speaks it fluently. So you open an English class.
Going over on well, see, this is the problem. Now he's going over on to here to 37 1.3 states the broker commission and the line haul are separate. Actually, the 3071.3 doesn't say anything about line haul. It doesn't say anything about line haul. Well, no, you're against immigrants if you're talking about H-2Bs. If you have a problem with somebody that has an H-2B visa coming over here to work legally, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's obviously a problem. If you have an issue with somebody coming over here legally, which they're issued an H-2B visa, which is a federal document that allows for you to come over here and work, your statement you literally made there, that's it. So we're going to bring over a bunch of H-2B visas to, help offset the contractor problem. There's a shortage of everything in blue collar trades right now. And we're considered a blue collar trade.
Do you want to know why there's a shortage?
It has nothing to do with what the shortage.
Do you want to know why there's a shortage? Let's talk about the shortage. Let's talk about the shortage.
Let's talk
about the shortage for a minute.
The mega carriers. The mega carriers. The only shortage exists in their yards. The mega carriers only exist in their yards because they have truck after truck after truck sitting on the yard, not moving down the road. That's exactly what that is. They have a shortage for mega carriers. There's no shortage in the industry. There's a shortage of mega carriers not being able to fill their trucks. That's what that is.
Hold on. Not only do you have a shortage in the Marietta district, which is why exactly what he just said is exactly why the ATA is pushing for this driver shortage, and they've been pushing it for almost a decade now. Driver shortage. It's because people don't want to work for a mega carrier and be spot as a number. They want to be treated like a human being. Now, second part. There's a second part to this that people are not understanding. You have owner operators going out of business on a regular basis, yearly, year after year after year after year. One, because of education, because they don't know what they're getting into when they actually get into it. Number two, because they fall for the same line from organizations like OOIDA, who say we support owner operators, but sit on $90 million, while owner operators who have supported them for 20 years burn right in front of their face, and all they do is roast marshmallows off of them. So talk about you talk about driver shortage. You talk the people that are supposed to be out here stating that they are for the owner operator, for the independent, about protecting you. No, they're not. They haven't protected anybody for the last 20 years.
Nope.
If they protected the owner operators, I guarantee you there'd be 1,000 owner operators right now still in business on the road right now because they had received help from the same organization they backed for 20 or 30 years. And they got no help. They burned to the ground.
So to bounce back up to this broker thing, okay, the main problem that we have here is that everybody thinks that they have the right to be an owner operator without having the abilities to be an owner operator. They want it's the same thing as this 513 bull crap over in another group over there. If you go through and make it $5 a mile, that means everybody's going to be profitable for about 5 minutes. And then all of the people that are struggling to be good business owners because they don't know how to look at their cost, pay attention to their cost. Yeah, they're going to be fine. Anybody can make it at $5 a mile. We've seen that happen with COVID. When COVID come in, all the rates went to like $5 a mile, and everybody was able to join the party. Well, that's like inviting everybody to the two-step, but ain't nobody, but half of them don't know how to two-step. You're not, look, I'm, this is the thing about it. If you're going to be an owner-operator, you need to have some business acumen, okay? And you got to quit blaming your problems on the brokers, okay? If you don't know how to operate a business, then don't be an owner-operator. Or if you don't know how to run a business, go learn. Because like one of the favorite lines in one of my favorite movies says, you spent $150,000 on an education you could have got for $1.50 in late fees at the local library. If you want to learn how to run a business, go get a library card. They're free. Promise you that. Either that, take your smartphone, download a couple of books, read the books on how to operate a business. Learn what each different category is in your operating cost. Also figure in what your personal costs are. Because when you are an owner operator,
go get the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Make that number one on your reading list.
Yeah. But see, this is the thing. 3% cap eliminates factoring. No, it doesn't.
Oh, my word.
3% cap eliminates every freaking broker out there, including all of the mega carriers. And then
what are you going to do when there's
go out of there? Well, you're not going to have any toilet paper, bottled water, or laundry soap because all the mega carriers are the ones that are hauling that stuff for Procter and Gamble and freaking Kellogg's and everybody else. And then they broker
3% cap.
They can't cover whatever. You're not going to do
3%
that because
cap.
the brokerage is a proven fact that the 4 to 6% operating cost. If they don't get at least that, they can't operate. So if you go to 3%, that doesn't freaking work.
Okay, so what's the game there? Here's the question I've got. What's the game there? Put the brokers out of business and build a shipper to receiver. You're actually going to do the whole model so you can make millions off of it. So you're going to put all these brokers out of business, and a lot of them, which are actually good people that actually don't rip truck drivers that we actually enjoy working with. You want to put them out of business because their cap, before they start seeing a profit, they've got to, have at least 7% before they even see a profit with their expenses that come out, because there are actually expenses with being a brokerage. So because they have to hit 7% before they even start paying themselves, you're mad at them and you want to cap them at 3%, which tells me that you may end up having, you've got a personal goal to somehow get of all of them and create your own little thing.
Well, no, look,
to supplement the problem that's actually coming in. It's the only way to.
Pastime, I know you're against the 3%. I'm talking about anybody that's out here listening and watching this about the 3%. I already know you're against it. I've seen your videos. I've watched it. I've seen it. I understand you're against the 3%. I'm talking about, I'm talking when Matt and I are sitting here talking about this stuff, a lot of times we're bringing up subjects that we're talking about that we know everybody needs to probably hear, because there's a lot of people over here that are swallowing the baloney. Okay. And it's not really baloney. It's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. So I already understand that. It's not a matter that the blowing of the stack. It's just a matter that we're both passionate about this industry. You have to understand that as well. Matt and I, we will get a little excitable from time to time as we are going through and talking about passionate things. Matt's been out here for 26 years. I've been out here for 28. I've been
I'm third generation.
You are right. I'm first generation. You're third generation. So technically you've probably been out here longer than me because you were riding around with dad and grandpa. So, I didn't have that. My grandfather was was an engineer, and my father did flood control. So, which
bravo.
Well. So, but
bravo.
Anyway, it's one of those things. So, I wouldn't take my upbringing and change it for anything. I'm just saying that, this is where our experiences are here. So, and what I'm talking about here is that 3% nonsense, because I'm putting it out here because the other thing of it is this, Matt and I talked about this. We're going to, all of our lives, all of our podcasts from now on, we're going to do lives. And then we're going to we're basically recording the lives and we're going to put those out there as a podcast so everybody can watch them after the fact. Okay. We are here to try to educate folks on what it actually is. And this is a matter of that we're literally going through and we are doing the research. We're not just putting things out there based upon feelings. You know, when Matt talks about the articles that I write, every article that I write goes back into our group, which has over like 160 years of combined experience or something like that.
130.
And it goes 130. Okay, misspoke. Sorry, 130. It goes back into our group. I let the group read every bit of it and give me their feedback because I want to make sure that what we're producing is right because I don't want to be just like the rest of the mainstream media that's out there and go through and say, well, we're just going to put whatever kind of bullshit that we can put out there just because we got to be out there because we got to be first. No, I don't want to be first. I want to be right. I want to make sure that everything that we're producing out here and putting out there for everybody to read and see is the right stuff. After we'll eliminate all independent broker and carriers. After we'll almost eliminate the entire trucking industry. Okay, let's just be honest right here. Because after all, Laura, I'm glad you like that one. If you watch it, hon, you got me started on this one. So after all, if you read anything about that, I tried to help in that group when it first kind of started. I'm not even going to lie. I tried to help in that group and I was not for the 513. But if you look at the other aspects of that AFTRA, is where I tried to put stuff in there that would actually make sense about education and so on and so forth. And all he did was instead of actually writing it, he went through, shoved it into a chat GBT, got some sort of a freaking AI response out of it and shoved it out there for everybody to read. And I literally looked at it and I was like, whatever, dude, and this is one of those things that happened with the conversation about why I left as an admin there. Let's just put it out there. After the derogatory and degrading things that were said about two of the female members that were in there and was done because they disagreed with what he had going on, I don't stand for that. I stepped out as an admin. I tried to stay in the group, tried to help people as we were forming this one. Let's just be real honest. He booted me out because I kept saying the same thing I'm saying here now, that you need to know your operating cost. And the thing of it is this, not everybody is going to go through and is going to sit there and be able to be an owner operator. Not everybody gets to play on the football team because I think the last time I checked, if you go look at the NFL, there's only 32 teams. They usually only have a roster of about 60. And my understanding is there's a lot of guys out there that I listen to at bars that think they know better than Tom Brady, who's or Peyton Manning, who's two of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Well, why did you throw it there? Or why did he do that? Or why did he do this? Well, not everybody gets to be quarterback, the head, the captain of the football team either. And this is what we try to tell, and this is why I've said it on our other podcast. If there's anybody out there, anybody at all out there that's listening or that needs help and you don't know your operating costs, please reach out to us. WeTheFOPT.org. You can go either that, WeTheFOPT@gmail.com. You can go to any of our social media pages, any of that stuff. Reach out. I have a spreadsheet that I have designed that I use every day. And it will literally go through and it will give you your true operating cost because it takes into account how much money you're having to pay yourself as well. Because everybody's personal bills are different. Like I said, some people, they want to live in a 7-bedroom home with 4 bathrooms, and others are perfectly fine with living in a 4-room, cabin in the middle of the woods. So we all have different lifestyles we want to live. But with that being said, brokers, getting rid of the brokers, it's not going to do it. What's he say? Except mega carriers that will develop automation and charge admission to their load board. Well, we already get charged admission for a load board. I don't know how many load boards you've been on, but they all charge an admission to get in there. I can promise you that.
Listen, the automation
Matt, I want to cover this
important.
automation for a minute. I'm going to step aside here for a second, and because I got to go get something to drink. I'm going to holler at somebody to bring me something. Go ahead and cover this mega carriers and the automation side.
Listen, the mega carrier automation is just another version of cheap labor, ladies and gentlemen. If you go look right now, the ATA has manipulated their way to literally create almost zero regulations. Now, I'm not going to say zero, but they're minimalist on the production of all of this that's going on. Now, I can't see your comments right now. I'm on mobile, not on my laptop. So if you're leaving a comment, bear with me for just a minute until he gets back. We'll be able to discuss them in a minute. The automation is barely minimum on restrictions right now. Why is that? Because cheap labor is running out. And why is the cheap labor running out? Is because everybody is so against the H-1B and the H-2B, the visas that are all out there that everybody's trying, that the mega carriers are scrambling to replace that cheap labor with cheaper labor, which are automated trucks. They can be literally rated by somebody sitting in a desk that can have somebody overlooking their shoulder every 15 seconds. That's the point of automation. Let's replace the cheap drivers with even cheaper with a truck that can just go without a driver. And most of them right now can go with a driver in it. They actually have to have somebody at least sitting in them. Now, there are some out there that don't, but there are also some that do. Now, the ATA has literally pushed it, very minimal restrictions, where there should be high restrictions on these automated vehicles. If you actually go look at the batteries themselves, they are actually so toxic that a fire department, if that truck ever catches fire, the only thing they can do is keep it cool and hope that that battery doesn't explode, because it actually explodes if they have to clear out an entire city block because those batteries are sad. So if you actually start digging into these autonomous trucks, how bad they really are, you'll start recognizing that all the overseers who have literally limited the restrictions to minimum have a lot to happen, and they are actually dangers waiting to happen. You think an H-1B or a H-2B visa that runs into a car, or a car gets an accident's a problem? Wait until one of these automated trucks, one of these wires goes haywire, or one of the computer components goes haywire and barrels through a neighborhood, or headlong into a school. It's all possible. What are you going to do then? You see, this is just another form of cheap labor. You're fighting to get rid of their cheap labor, so they go a different route now. All of this is tied in. Every string is attached. And if you follow the strings all the way to the top, you have the ATA for the last 90 years for everything that transpires today. As well as an accountability here of every truck driver who can't put their mindset aside to stand shoulder to shoulder, stand up and fight for the same things that every one of us believes in.
So, hold on. That's all true, but I'm talking about automation, not autonomy. We're not talking about autonomy. We're talking about automated trucks. When you're talking about,
I thought we were talking automated trucks.
That's what I thought. Because he said I'm talking about automation, not autonomy. Well, that's what automation is. We're talking about automated trucks. Yeah. Autonomy is about self-governance. We're not talking about self-governing. We're talking about automated load boards. Okay, so now you're getting into the AI conversation. I took your comment as you were talking about automated trucks. If you're going to talk about the AI side of it, look, I can tell you this: the AI side of the whole deal is this. When you look at the AI side of it, the AI side is, I don't know, man. AI is coming. AI is coming. I can tell you that.
I just had my first load not 2 weeks ago, delivering for a certain broker. the phone call for checking my status. And I swear I'm sitting there going, there's just something off. Something's really off with this individual. And literally spoke to our boy here, Mr. Mike. And next day I had a conversation. He said it was probably AI. And I was still under the load and got another call from this broker and literally said, "Are you AI? Are you a real person?" And they know I am AI. And literally spoke in this bland tone voice. And I'm going, holy crap, I'm being dispatched by AI. I don't even get the luxury of a real human being at this point. But AI is here, man. AI is here. It is something that we're going to have to, as a trucking industry, going to have to cope with. It's a quick way for a broker to be able to manage more loads. Bravo to them. They figured out. You can't hold that against them that they figured out a way to monopolize on, on this. It is what it is. I mean, that's no different than if I increase my fuel economy if it's ever available, I put AI a truck to help me increase my fuel economy. That's boosting me. I utilize it if I learn it and understand it, and it helps me. I'm going to use it.
The thing of it is this. It's called evolution. And if you're gonna be around, we are very much an evolving species. We have very much started to evolve after basically about the 1940s and 50s. If you look at anything back in history, all of a sudden we started having computers. When you looked at like the things that were going on with NASA, they were using, now mind you, the computer that I'm sitting in front of right now would take up a basketball court back then. Now it takes up something the size of a deck of cards. And that's evolution. We are going to have to evolve in this industry. It's no different. And everybody got upset about the e-log when that mandate hit or was coming into 2017. And everybody was upset about that. Oh, e-logs. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Okay. The problem everybody had was not so much about the e-log, because all it was a different way to record your hours of service. Everybody had issues with the hours of service. And instead of going and trying to bring ways to change the hours of service, they just all complain about the e-log. And all that is just a way to record it. Now, yeah, them shoving it down everybody's throat that they, had to take the e-log if your truck was so new, or, with that age limitation that they put on there, I found to be a load of crock. Reason being is this. Most of your electronic logging devices that are out there right now are dealt with off a Bluetooth situation. So most of them are being with a tablet or a cell phone and with an app on that device. You can actually run any truck on e-log. Every truck on the market can be run on e-log if you have a smart device, which I'm talking about a smartphone or a tablet. And all you have to do is like even I run e-log, even my provider, we were having some issues with some of the connectivity the other day, and I was talking with their tech department, and I had to get back in there on the app and stuff like that. And it literally went through and showed that there's a whole other app. And I was like, what's this? I said, was I supposed to download this too? And I said, but it's like $39.99. And he was like, no. He goes, that is for folks that have older trucks that want e-log. Now, I will say this, when it comes to the e-log side, it is great for the fact that you're not going to have any kind of a broker or shipper argue with you about whether or not if you are on their site. Because like mine, it GPSes me within 3 foot. And when you're driving a 75-foot, 80,000-pound vehicle, 3 foot ain't nothing. So, looking at that, that's, yeah. So 35% of freight
The
companies
only
use them
down.
for operations, 15% use them for route optimization. Oh yeah, you're right, Audrey. Yeah, they really do. They really do. Oh, hold on a minute.
Only
We've got
difference.
somebody who wants to.
Okay.
Somebody was wanting to join in. At least it said it, and now they're gone. I didn't even get a chance to click onto it. Maybe it's them. Yeah, I mean, I look. So I look. E-logs. It's part of the evolution. It really is. Do I think it should have been forced down somebody's throat? No. I think we should be able to use either or, and have that out there to where that we can go through, and that's an option for any carrier. If you want to run e-log, that's fine. But see, this is where the biggest problem that I have with like the hours of service side of it is that nobody can be on a circadian rhythm. And I know I've talked about this in my other podcasts and stuff about how my old lady does EEG and she's, been in the medical field for like 2 decades now and stuff like that. And we've held the conversations and stuff about sleep studies and stuff. And it's literally right here. We should be on a 14-10 rule and keep that 30-minute break in there. And now we just get rid of this whole 11-hour nonsense. In those 14 hours, you come on duty, and we'll say it's 7:00 in the morning. You have until 9 o'clock at night to do whatever you need to do. And that's it. After that, boom, you're done. Don't even need that just positive and negative and aligned to the speed control sensor or speed cable. There is, I'm not going to argue with that. There's multiple ways that we could probably bring E-log into every piece of equipment that's out there. I have absolutely no doubt of that. No doubt of that.
Yeah, the problem with that, and here's the only issue that the FOPT has with the E-log. It's the only issue that we have with the E-log is that E-log and paper log, according to FMCSA standards, are both still recognized as legal logging devices. And being that they are still recognized as legal logging devices and still seen as such, the driver or the carrier should have the option to either choose dollars where they can have everything present to them, or the $7 option of paper logs. Now, the E-log we all know, anybody who's been in trucking since the 90s, everybody knows why the E-log why it was even introduced. And it goes back to a certain mega carrier who had millions of dollars of fines, that the only way that they can maintain their DOT and maintain their business was they came up with the ELD, the Qualcomm. That was the first initiative.
Yeah, but that was
a self-punishment. So what you did, CSA actually did, was basically hold every carrier accountable in the same accountability as Werner, and said, you're all going to suffer the same punishment as Werner Enterprises did, and we'll put you all on us. Instead of saying, well, you know what, you're in the red, you're going to go on ELD until you can show us that you can get back to a safe operating, and then we'll give you the choice to go back to paper if you choose to. They took that option and made everybody able.
Yeah, he's saying actually Werner's original system gave you more hours than you ever could have got with a logbook. The thing of it is, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the reason and how it came about. The reason and how it came about was Werner and the fact that they had such a huge issue, and they used it to stay in business. They developed and designed an electronic logging device, because one of the things that they also had was they had so many incomplete log violations.
Yeah.
They had a crap ton of the log violations. You had drivers that were driving over their hours and stuff. They were finding in accidents that they were having, 3 and 4 logbooks as the stories go, yada, yada, yada. It was meant to be punitive. It was meant to be punitive. And that's what happened. That's the whole reason to be. That was the beginnings of the ELD, and it was back in the 90s. They got together. Who was it? Was it? Yeah, I think it was Omnitrax. No, it wasn't Omnitrax. Who was it? I'm trying to
can't remember who it was.
I don't remember now. They got together with somebody.
I can't remember.
Designed it, but yeah, but that's one of those things, Oh, bro, I used to carry around 2 and 3 logbooks too. We all had 3 or 4 logbooks.
We all did it. We all did it.
Okay, hold on. Now I gotta disagree with that. Okay, I will say the whole. This is why there is a certain group, and I'm not. You can't even really name it, but there is a certain type of mentality. Maybe I should put it in certain drivers in this industry. And they are the ones that have why we have to have the hours of service, because they did not have the courage to stand up to the carrier and say, no, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. This is the whole reason for the hours of service, because they had to put something out there to try to stop the carriers from being so pushy. And let's be honest, it was mainly your mega carriers, ATA, that whole situation that we all keep coming full circle back to ATA mega carrier, ATA mega carrier, ATA mega carrier. It seems like every time you get involved with any of these things, it's ATA mega carrier, ATA mega carrier. You always wind up going back full circle. But the problem was that you would have them and they would push and push and push and push and push. And they would push. I mean, hell, we just seen it a few years ago on freaking YouTube when KB Transportation, that guy freaking put it out there about that. Had the live phone call on video. And he's telling homeboy that he's tired and he needs to go to sleep and this and the other. No, you need to get out and walk around a truck, dude. It's cold outside. You need to get a cup of coffee, dude. No, when a driver is driving down the road, truckers going down the road, and they tell you, no, I'm tired, I need to get some sleep, you might want to let them go get some sleep, because I'm here to tell you, that load of Kellogg's Fruit Loops ain't that important. If Granny or freaking Susie or Johnny got to wait an extra day to get their box of Fruit Loops, it's worth it. Because when you got a trucker out here telling you that they're tired, they need to go to bed. That's what needs to happen.
Here's the deal, and this is where a lot of people are miseducated about the trucking industry. Everybody thinks that anybody can be a trucker, and
no.
In a lot of cases, yes, you can come out here, but there is a serious lack of understanding, lack of education about what it means to be a truck driver. That means that you're in charge of that vehicle at all times, 100%, not the company 1,000 miles away, not the company 10 miles away. It's not the text message. It's not you are the captain of that ship at all times. You can literally come off of home time, get into a truck, and any old school truck driver will back me on this. Come out of home time, get into it, get 2 hours down the road and be exhausted and need a small break. There are other times that you can get behind the wheel and you can drive 16 hours and be absolutely alert 100% of the time. There are times that you're going to sleep 8 hours during the day. There are times that you're going to sleep 8 hours in the afternoon. There are days that you're going to sleep 6 hours in the evening. Trucking is not circadian rhythm. There's nothing about this that's circadian rhythm unless you personally develop it for your personal truck.
Yeah,
it does not fit every single truck on the road. And this is an education that is not taught and is not explained. You will swing shifts all day long, every single week.
Actually, that's a science-backed, proven circadian rhythm. That's science-backed and proven that it is literally the circadian rhythm is there. Now, everybody has a little different circadian rhythm. I'm not going to lie about that. But for the most part, the reason why I say the 14-10, and I will explain this fully. That gives you time to take a shower. That gives
Absolutely.
you time to get a bite to eat. That gives you time to catch up on some of your book work. And then that gives you time to get some sleep. And then that gives you time to get up in the morning and brush your teeth, comb your hair, get dressed, maybe get yourself a bite to eat as well. Get you a cup of coffee, get yourself woke up. Not coming out of you're not coming straight out the bunk and going straight behind the wheel while you still got your crusties in the corner of your eyes and you got the funk breath on your mouth because you ain't brushed your teeth in 15 days.
Right.
This is part of the reason why when we look at a lot of the truck drivers, I see it in America all the time. Our dental care is atrocious because drivers are not taking the time because they're more worried about trying to get all the sleep that they need to get instead of taking the time to go in and brush their teeth and do proper personal hygiene a lot of times.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we need that 1410, and this is why I don't have an issue with hours of service. Because if you do not police these mega carriers, they've already proven it. There's a whole reason why we have a minimum wage in this country. Because we had to police the mega corporations to make sure that the people were receiving a fair wage at the time. Now, I'm not going to disagree when somebody tells me, well, that fair wage hasn't kept up with inflation. I 100% back that statement. Does it need to be adjusted? It does. Or we need to reduce inflation. One of the two. Something's got to give here. Because I can tell you right now, rabbit hole for a moment here, off topic. When everybody wants to talk about these kids have a failure to launch these days. Well, I can tell you this. 25 years ago, when I was making $15, $16 an hour, it only cost me $500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. And it cost me less than $1 for a gallon of gas. Now, I still see these on a gas cost because I put it in my personal vehicle. It's floating right around that 280 mark. So that's almost 3 times on just the gas to get to work. Not to mention the cost of the living situation just in rent is 3 times higher. This is why I say we need to figure something out on this minimum wage, but this is where a lot of times you have to have certain things in place to police it, but that's why we had to that video. I really wish everybody goes out that's listening to this. If you've never seen it, go look it up. KB Transportation, YouTube. You're going to see it. It's a gentleman. He's literally on the phone. It's a live phone call to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher's trying to push him down the road. And that is the main reason right there, proof positive, why we have to keep an hours of service in place. Because if you don't, these dispatchers that work for these companies, they are no different than some of these dispatching services or brokers that are out here. They are only out for themselves. This is how I know that we have good brokers and we have bad brokers. If you do not have consideration for your fellow man, and when I say man, I mean like human. I'm not just talking about just the male species. I'm talking male and female. But when you don't have that for your fellow man, any kind of consideration, you're part of the problem. You really are. So, yeah. That's why we added information to no pushy enforcement driver discretion clause in the new bill. Well, I hate to tell you this one. When it comes to doing anything with the government, I have watched for the last 20 years different congressional members place in a bill for the Fair Tax Act. Sorry. They've tried to get that in there for the last 20 years, and I don't even think it gets past committee. And this is the thing. You can go through and put any bill out there you want. If the government is not going to bank money off of it, the federal government is not going to do anything for you. I'm going to tell you this one because I'm literally working on another. I mean, we've done a podcast about this. I'm about to write another article on it, on this one right here. When it comes to government and trying to get changes made, and Matt and I have talked about this. And if you've been doing this for 34 years, you've been around a long time. Like
Matt and I have, so you've seen a lot. The only way that we got gay marriage passed in this country was it had to happen at a state level. The main reason why you're seeing the change in the federal government right now due to the marijuana side laws is because of the state changes that are happening. You have to go and it's easier to talk to a state attorney general. It's easier to talk to a state governor. It's definitely easier to talk to your state congressman or representative because they're literally right down the road from you. Most of them are, because there's just as many a lot of times in a state of a state representative or state senator as there are federal congressional members. So you have the capabilities of doing that. And this is where, like Matt and I talked about, going to Washington does nothing. I just had a conversation with this wonderful lady, and matter of fact, Audrey, you're in here. What's up, girl? Her and I just talked about this. She does this for a living. And I'm going to basically tell you the same thing that she told me that I already knew about. If you're going to go testify, look, go back and watch the when Pugh and the ATA went there, and he went in front of Ted Cruz and the state transportation committee. All them boys and girls that were in there were sitting out on a wooden bench outside until it was their turn to go in there and talk to him. They went in there and talked to him. If you watch the facial expressions and you know how to read people, Ted Cruz and everybody else that was in there was just saying what they needed to say so they can get brownie points on re-election. They could have gave 2 craps less. They're not going to make any changes. And the other thing of it is when you're talking about some of these people that are millionaires and billionaires going in there and talking to these folks, we literally in that video, you see the leader of the ATA talk about a huge driver shortage in America. And then here now within the last month, they came out and said there is no shortage. There is no way that we gained all these drivers to cover this shortage in the last month when we've had all these losses due to the non-domicile and the other. I mean, that's it. That's why you have to
you have to
address their representative. So look, what you have to do, don't say that TikTok will get you the Lord's lettuce. I don't think I've ever said that TikTok's going to get you the Lord's lettuce. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is I'm saying that, when we start talking about passing those laws and stuff like that, the only reason you're getting any kind of traction right now is because it's happening at the state level. I mean, Matt, I want you to talk about, we've had this conversation a few times. 4 or 5 years ago, there was how many trucks that showed up to support you when you guys were, doing that on the highway and stuff, and you parked your truck?
Oh, dude, when we
tell that story about that.
Sheila and I actually parked the road during the so-called shutdown that was attempted in 2020, right toward the end of COVID. Big call out for trucks to shut down. Sheila and I actually stopped. We had signs all over the truck. We had, the American flags flying. We literally stopped on the shoulder of the exit ramp, on the onbound ramp, where you could, we were as clear could be. And we had one rig the entire day pulling behind us, one rig, while everybody else kind of blew by, blowing their horns and flipping us off. One rig. People, this is a nation that's out for itself. We all know that. But here's you. Trucking has gotten so micromanaged that if we don't stand and we don't put an end to this nonsense that's going on, anybody who actually loves trucking like I do, like Mike does, and we're passionate about it. This is all I want to do until it's time for me to retire, if I actually retire from trucking. It's going to be gone. It is literally micromanaged down to the point where it's less than a minute on these ELDs. You are micromanaged to the minute now. You are literally being harassed by a broker, some of them the big time ones, 10 or 15 times a day while you're trying to rest and sleep. You are being dictated by regulation on when you're allowed to sleep, when you're not allowed to sleep, what you're allowed to make. As far as I'm concerned, the 5.5, 6.4, 7.3, 8.2, they all work. Every one of them can fit a mold to another truck driver out here. I would love to have the 5.5 back. I don't sleep any more than hours. If I sleep that long, sometimes I'm 51. I'm wide awake. I've been doing this for so long that it's ingrained. In 5 hours, I'm ready to go. I'm rested. I'm alert. I'm ready to go. So, it's not everybody. That's just me. Some people need the 8.2. Some people can utilize the 7.3 better. Some can utilize 4. And we're seeing the pilot program that FMCSA's got going on right now to see if it's feasible to use the 5.5, 6.4, 7.3, 8.2, which I actually proposed back in 2021. So,
I think what happened is I think he went in there and stole a key to the kitty jar is what he got.
Well, and hey, listen, I don't care if it's being looked now. Let them look at it. It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care.
I'm just saying.
But
somebody else brought it up since then.
So let's but to go back to the ATA and the FMCSA and our industry is divided on 1,000 fronts. You saw me put a video up at, I don't know, a minute, 3 minutes long, whatever it is. I listed them all. They are utilizing divisions. The more that we're divided, the more the ATA gets away with what they do. Go look at the exemption list. Since 2000, since the beginning of the FMCSA, it is nothing but mega carrier.
Yeah.
Mega carrier, mega conglomerates. It's them getting the exemptions. You do not see one from a single owner operator. Every time an owner operator went in, they're immediately denied.
Yeah.
Immediately. It doesn't matter. They will back. Good gracious, have mercy. History again. The ICC, one of the most corrupt federal agencies, to the point where the federal government said, we need to get rid of you. The federal government rarely ever says that about any agency, but they said it about the ICC. Who was around during the time of the ICC? The frickin' ATA. And now here we are with the FMCSA 2000 since their incorporation, and they're getting just as bad as the ICC was because they're banging nothing but the ATA wants, but not what the actual owner-operator, the independent, the lease operator. None of these people matter to them.
Oh no, there's a multitude of reasons why they got rid of the ICC there.
Well, I understand. There's a lot more reasons than that.
Well, no, he said that's not why they got rid of the ICC. No, that's part of the reason.
One of the reasons.
The corruption that was going on. And see, this is the thing. It wasn't just corruption inside the ICC. It was the corruption that they were letting go on outside.
There it is.
The regulations that they were supposed to be doing. Because if any of us that have been around and talked to any of the boys and girls that were around back in the 70s that were driving, because I know when I started in the late 90s, they were all talking about it. It literally would go through and it would cost sometimes $250,000 for you to become a carrier. So that's why when, like, I've heard Dave over there and he's starting to talk this nonsense about how the ICC was so great because it was back in the heyday of trucking. No, dude. Unless you were a mega carrier that had millions of dollars to go through and fight to get your foot in the door with the different legislations and litigations that happen, half the carriers wouldn't be out here.
Brother, and let's be
out here right now that's got 6 digits are basically left over, and there ain't very many of them. There's not very many.
Listen, let's be honest.
DOT numbers.
Let's really get down to base the facts when it comes to old school versus new school. Okay, even my generation, even me, I was raised by a father a stepfather, all truckers, grandfather, trucker. You know, they were half of the industry would not be able to survive what they did. Not half. If we were all in, we all had to do what, if we all had to do what they did, there's way most of us would not be trucking today.
No. And the thing of it is this: you wouldn't be, if the ICC had stayed around, you wouldn't be going through, and Amazon wouldn't be getting you your goodies so fast as they do. You know, because one, you wouldn't have the ability to broker the freight like what you do now. That's the ICC was so corrupt inside and out with the stuff that they let see go on and how hard it was to get into it. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world on the ICC. It really was. So,
and here's something else that
was disbanded was because of their authority from Congress. Yeah. If you look at all of the stuff there, it's yeah. And there was nothing good about the ICC, Dave. I promise you that.
And here's something that we all need to keep in mind. Here's some education in mind going this day forward. We want to blame the mega carriers, and they have blame and accountability to take for the influx of these non-English speaking truck drivers and the H-1B and the H-2B visas. Listen, there's blame there. But we also have laws in this country, and I haven't heard a single person say this yet, which is really weird. The accountability, you can't really blame them because of the way the laws are written. But where's the accountability that when these non-English speaking individuals who just went to school, got through it in 3 or 4 weeks, has their CDL legally or illegally, however they procured it, walks into a truck dealer, and that truck dealer, because it's a sale, doesn't care whether they speak English, don't, sells them a truck and instantly a Class 8, not a little six-wheeler, a Class 8 truck, knowing that they're about to go out on the road with their families. They're going to sell that individual a Class 8 truck. And that class, as soon as they have that state truck, as long as they have the financial backing, they can get their USDOT, their MC numbers, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
With no with very little stipulation. We are not looking at the fact that there are several out here. I don't know the exact number that are needing a better life, but they're not being held accountable on any level, including all the way back to sales department where bought that truck in the first place. So this is not just a small picture, folks. This gets bigger the more you look at it. We are not taking into consideration sales out there that are selling these people. If you can't sit across from a salesman and speak common English, able to say, this is what I'm buying it for, I'm trying to build a company, and you've got to use a phone to interpret what it is that you're saying to the salesman, that salesman should automatically sit there and go, let me make a phone call and make sure this is okay to do. But because of our relations and the way the laws are written, they have a right to go in there, buy that truck, and utilize it the way they need to utilize it to create capitalism. Capitalism allows it.
This is the thing. One of the reasons why they get the loans is because the federal government has them fully backed. The federal government backs the loan. And see, like I learned this here. I don't know, what was this? This was 6 or 7 years ago. There was a young lady that had worked all her life as a trucker, and she went through and she wanted to be able to get her own truck. And she, due to the fact of her financial situation, her interest rate was enormous, and she had to put down all kinds of money and all this stuff to get the truck and to get the financing. And then she turns around and she finds out that they're bringing in immigrants into the country. Well, no,
Mhm.
not immigrants, migrants. Sorry, misspoke there.
Migrant.
Migrants into the country, and they're giving these migrants federally backed loans to go buy these trucks, as long as they're
Mhm.
newer than 5 years.
Right.
And you go in, and she was in tears on this video because she had literally worked her butt off for like 15 years or something. And
Right.
she's a United States citizen, natural citizen, born and raised here, and she had to work her butt off to get where she is. And then somebody who's not even a United States citizen comes over here, and the federal government backs them on a loan, so their interest rate is like next to nothing. And then
Right.
I've learned this: a lot of them come over here, they get these new trucks, they make no payments on them whatsoever because they're back, the loan's backed by the federal government. So if they default on the loan, it's no big deal. They take all the money they make, they do this until the truck gets repoed, then they take all that money and they go a $10,000 Volvo and they drive that thing down the road until it breaks down, and then they go and they buy another one, and they buy another one, and they buy another $10,000 truck. They just keep buying $10,000 trucks over and over and over again.
The one thing I want to add, and listen, we're not against immigration. We're really not. If you're really trying to be over here and
we're talking about policy. We're talking about policy.
Yeah, we're again.
Policy.
It's the policy. It's the policy that this is not. It has to be an equal playing field. If you want capitalism, it has to be an equal playing field all the way around. And right now, in the trucking industry, there is no.
Unfortunately, no.
We are not equally heard. We treated. We have associations and groups that say they're about something, but won't back those who are actually supporting them or have supported them. And regulation after regulation, we are not seeing any repealing of regulations that have been put in place that are no longer actually needed or need to even be existent. If you look at it, just gets deeper. And we need a mindset. We need a group of people, and I welcome you. It's smart in trucking. I'm not just in politics. Heck is even smarter than I am with his research capabilities, and I love you to death, man. But even doesn't know it all.
No.
This has got to be collaborative. The federation is just the beginning. Okay, this is not. We're not hearing, every leader that wants to step to the out and help us fight, tearing you down. We're going to hold you accountable, just as we hold each other accountable. You want to fight for the industry and you don't have a personal agenda. Come on, come stand with us. Help us take real problems.
But
we welcome you. I will shake your hand.
Yeah, I'll shake anybody's hand. My issue that I get to at times, though, is the ridiculousness. We have to be realistic here with a lot of this stuff. We have to be realistic with the things that we're doing. There's a reason why I reach out to certain people and that have certain skill sets. A lot of people have asked me throughout my time when I've led different organizations or whatever, how I was good at what I did, because I surround myself with a bunch of great people that know more than me about certain topics, because not every person knows everything. But this is where, this is literally where, it's the government thing we're talking about here. Like when Audrey and I had the conversation the other night, she told me it's finally somebody that gets it when we talk about the government. Yeah, the government's not going to solve your problem. It's not.
No. No.
And this is why Audrey and Chris got along so well, is because that Chris is the same way. If you think, and Matt, you've heard me say this,
right,
that the United States government is the largest organized crime outfit in the world. They have their own kappas and everything else. And you want to, if anybody wants to argue with that with me, come over here and watch somebody not pay their property taxes on a house that they own outright. Okay.
I'll show
The
you.
kappa's going to come in, they're going to take your house, they're going to sell it and put somebody else in it that'll pay their taxes. Okay. So if you think the federal government's going
Book. Now I'll show you a 7th grade history book that shows you capital is a country.
yes,
In a country, it's
That's
not part of it. It's not. It may be in the United States, but it's not a part of the United States. It's a city inside a country.
The license
Okay,
plate's literally
it is.
District of Columbia.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. And it's
It's literally, if you look back all the way back, you can go back to the Federalist Papers, you can go back to the Constitution, you can go back to, back. Washington, D.C. was literally designed. It's designed this way. It's purposely designed this way.
Yeah.
So if you think that somebody that your follows up in Washington, D.C., you're standing on the lawn and, get that beautiful shot with the bow tie and the nice shirt, and we're here in Washington, D.C., and we're gonna push this agenda. What that is a show. A show. Okay, there is nothing that's going to happen there unless that individual standing on the White House, unless that individual has got two rolls of $100 bills about 24 inches in each pocket, he's not even getting noticed. He's not going to get hurt. Only ones that are actually going to shake his hand, give him a shoulder or her a little pat on the shoulder is because they're up for election and they need your vote to get office.
Yeah.
They are not actually going to do something. It is a pampering different than if a child is thrown at them, that you hand them a little something, them on the shoulder, stop them from crying, and then they go on their little merry way. Washington treats us all the exact same way. So if you have somebody that you're following along, please pay attention. And they're taking a beautiful selfie in Washington, D.C., and they say, we're going to make some change. They're not a difference. It has to start at the very bottom of the poll. You have to start at community levels. You have to start at county levels. You have to start at state levels. Make your voice heard that way. Because when the Washington, D.C. start getting 8,000 phone calls from governors, congressmen, senators from and Washington State and so on and so on and so on. There are 15 trucks. There are 50 trucks. Holy crap, they're on their way over to Colorado. They've already made it known. When that all starts coming together, and yes, a plan that we're developing needs to be developed, because if you don't, it screws everything up. But if you go state to state, community to community, you get communities behind you. You get the farmers to back you up. You get the smoke eaters. You get the police. The police, for is truck drivers and police don't get along, there are good DOT. And if you can get them to back you, because you're doing it the right way, all of a sudden you have gotten so loud that watch take and shut you up. They are hearing you. You are drowning out the ATA and their little tentacle of states. They have tentacles in every state. Every single state has an ATA office in it. And guess where they are? Sitting in the hills. Please open your eyes. Understand, this is not...
what I've been talking about.
This takes planning, precision, an operation that goes that literally calls for some sacrifice. Just top of my head, and I've got a whole bunch of numbers. what it would take to go state to state capital, all the way through. And from Washington all the way through until you hit Maine, would take an individual dedicated so diehard that the same individuals have to take 60 days of their life and sacrifice everything, days to go from one capital to the next, to the next, and the next, and the next, all the way through the state. Do you want to know what that kind of sacrifice takes? It's not about you sending for a membership fee. It's not about it. That is when real change takes place. Okay, this is how we have to fit. This is how we fix trucking and that group. We have to build that group. We're just the beginning. We're just the beginning. And you have to start at county level. Reach out to the small politicians. You have to reach out to the small mayors, the county groups. Work your way up to the state. You need to put in their plan together. This isn't an overnight plan. It slaps together and says, hey, we have a plan to do this. We need your money. If it's that case and somebody in the next week comes to you and says, you know what, we can use some donations. They're full of horse crap. It can't be done that way. It takes precision planning. And you have to do it in a way that's peaceful but loud. Because any kind of agitation, kind of is going to ruin the whole thing. And after all, if you try to use this way over the next, I don't know, 3 months, plan put together, and you start calling for truck drivers' donations, I'm going to call you. And again, and again, and I'm going to group that sits there and says, well, you know, send us to do this. That's not the way this works. A truck organization that's true will lead by example. That means that they will, long before they ask, they're standing up to sacrifice. That's what a real trucking organization is supposed to do. Stand up for your fellow brothers and sisters, and that's what we're all about. I have no personal gain. My personal gain, my whole agenda is to make trucking and to make it so much better that I can finish out another 25 years to my career and end my life when I retire, to be able to sit there and say, I've got 50, and the last 25 were the best years of trucking in all of my 50. It's my only goal here. I don't care about I don't want to sit in no corrupt city. I can bear living next to a city.
Right.
You're going to wear a suit and tie. You're not even going to bury me in one. Even my wife knows. It's a flannel shirt with in the pocket with my boots on. And there ain't no way I'm fitting into Washington, D.C. that way. I have no agenda. I don't need your money. Mine, driving my truck every day, or how hard it is. I don't need your money. We don't need your money. If in a year leaving us, contact the president, contact the treasury. If it isn't that much to donate, then you talk to them. In a year. I'm not asking for money. Mike will never ask me for money. Our group will never ask you. That is your hard-earned money. You have sacrificed your families, time with your children, sacrificed birthdays, you have sacrificed anniversaries, you have sacrificed everything for that money in your pocket to take care of your families. Well, I'm not asking you for it.
So, I understand what you're saying. You have zero intention of going to Washington, D.C. One of the other things, though, that we talk about when we're talking about the Washington side of it is this bill stuff that we like, you know, the acts and the bills and the, you know, man, there's so many of them that the thing of it is this. There's 537 ignorant, incompetent people that are in government, in our federal government. I believe that's the number when you add the cabinet and all of Congress. And these
all with their own
folks,
personal agendas.
That's the thing. So, they are not, you can bring together whatever bill you want to draft. It's not going to go anywhere. You'll be lucky if it gets to a committee. And if it does, it will probably sit there until the cows come home. And I can tell you this, you can go right now, you can go to Congress, their website. I believe it's HR 25. It was filed the 3rd of January of this year. It is the Fair Tax Act. It is to repeal income tax, gift tax, and I believe capital gains tax. And it's still sitting in committee a year later. And I've watched those acts be drafted every year, every other year, and they go nowhere. And I'm willing to bet if you were to ask probably 75% of America if they would support that act, that HR 25, which is the Fair Tax Act, and they would tell you, yeah, I don't want to pay any income tax anymore. I don't want to pay gift tax. I don't want to pay this. And yet it still sits there in committee. It went nowhere. It's not going to go anywhere. This is where we talk about it's literally going through, and the bills go nowhere. You can write them all day long. A matter of fact, I've got like 4 or 5 of them I've written over the years. I never submitted them because I finally realized after the first 2, there's no point in going any further. And the reason being is because the federal government didn't want that to happen because they can't make any money off of that. If you go through and you watch anything that has happened over the last, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 months in Congress and the amount of wasteful spending. I mean, we had that whole Doge that was formed and all of that wasteful spending. I'm willing to bet that if you go through
Billions,
you look at where all that money went, there are people that are related to, in one way, shape, or another, to congressional members that were running those different programs. And that is why they were upset about removing them. Because the tax dollars are going to these programs and then it goes right into their pocket. Because I'm here to tell you, I don't know who in the hell needs to spend millions of dollars to sell condoms to people in Zimbabwe or whatever they were doing. The people over there have access to prophylactics no different than everybody does here in the United States. They're everywhere. So we don't need to spend millions of dollars to do that over there. But yet we were still doing it. We were still spending the millions of dollars. I think it was close to what, like $400 billion? They'd said they were potentially going to be able to save from all the wasteful spending or something like that.
yeah,
It was some astronomical number. I'm probably wrong on the 400 exactly, and I'm sure somebody could Google it. Hell, I could too. I'm sitting in front of my computer. I'm not going to Google it. When you're starting to talk that kind of money that's being wasted, that is an astronomical number, in my opinion. I mean, if you were to go through and do the math on how much money $1 billion is, if you were to earn that over a lifetime, the amount of money you make in a day is staggering. It's staggering to look at those numbers. For these people that are supposedly billionaires, like your Jeff Bezos, your Bill Gates, your Elon Musk, $500 billion. Like they make more than a day than most of us do in a month or 2. But they're the same ones that are giving the money in these super PACs. And this is why these bills aren't going to go anywhere. What you have to do is like I was talking about earlier, we wanted gay marriage passed. They did it at a local level. They started pushing it at the state levels. And it finally got to the point where there was enough states that said, we're done with what the federal government says over here. This is what we want right now. And they went ahead and said, no, we're going to pass this. We don't care what you say over there, federal government. We're going to pass this. And it got to the point there were so many of them that the federal government had to go, okay, I guess I'll let you guys have your way. You know, we hate, because the other problem is you got 537 people up there that can never say that they're ever wrong about anything. It's almost as if they're Jesus Christ themselves and can walk across the Atlantic Ocean to England and they don't have to take a plane.
Well, it's no different than the judges we have in the judicial system. All act the same once a decision about the decision that they made. They will not repeal the wrong decision. They will let it sit there and it will stay laws. That's why we've got so many laws in so many fields, but it'll never happen because that actually means that you have to admit that you're wrong, and that's not going to happen.
Well, look, so he says bill on the table backed up by petition that everyone signed the bill went an email to representatives, state and federal. Okay, so they literally didn't even have to take the piece of paper and throw it away. The petitions don't matter, man. Petitions don't matter. The petitions do not matter. You can have as many bills as you want put together. I wish Audrey was still on here. She will tell you the same thing, and that woman does it for a living. And I've known all of this. This is where I really, you should really probably go take a government course and actually like watch how ridiculously slow the pace is over there. And this is why nothing gets accomplished. Because I understand you have all these signatures. I literally watched, this is going back probably 10 years ago. And I watched people all over the country when the Fair Tax Act hit big time. And it was gaining a lot of traction. And they were going all over the country. And they were getting all these signatures on a petition to have the Fair Tax Act, that it was going to get put in front and center, and they were going to get it, and yada, 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 yada. And it never went anywhere. You can have 15 million signatures. And if Congress don't want it to go anywhere, it's just not gonna go.
Congress will
you can go
literally
look
right
you want. It's never gonna go anywhere.
Congress is looking right in the eye and go, well, okay, you got 15 million signatures, prove that they're all. They won't do it on their, but they will do it to you to make sure that so much time and so much money that give up on it. They will come up with 8,000 loops to jump before they even bother to take and look at it. Yeah, that's why there's we know
it doesn't matter how many verified emails you got, buddy. I hate to tell you that.
We know of somebody right now that has written up something and has signatures attached to them, and we have somebody that knows that half those signatures aren't even, not even that they were literally put to increase the number and nothing more. So
don't work, though.
Yeah, no.
He's got it on here, already done with verified emails. Buddy, I'm here to tell you, you can have 15 million driver's license copies and they're not going to go anywhere. I promise you this. You can go through and you can get 30 million people to give you a copy of their driver's license as verification that they signed it. They're not
going for a campaign contribution
at the bill. That's what now.
You got 30 million to pay contribution.
Now you're talking. You got a $30 million for a campaign contribution. Ted Cruz will get on his knees for you.
Because that's either create
money.
You either create noise. You can't play a politician's game that they've perfected for the last 50 years. You can't play that game.
Nope.
You have to play. They're playing. They're playing Monopoly. Sorry, they're playing chess, you got to play shoots and ladders. You got to play a different game. Their game.
Well,
You've got to do it differently.
The other problem is this though. A lot of these people, they think they're playing chess, but they're really in checkers.
Yeah,
there's also a difference there. There is that. This is the thing. You have to understand, and this is the same thing that I said to Dave. I've said it to many people. I've said it on every single time that I've seen it go on. Yeah, I signed a petition over there. I did. I signed Dave's petition. I'll stand on all 10 toes. I did. No different than I've said. Anything that's going to probably or potentially help trucking or bring any kind of attention to trucking to make things better, I'm for it. Do I think that that's going to go anywhere? No. Do I think your bill is going to go anywhere? I know it's not. I know neither one of them are going to go anywhere. If you want change, you got to go local and state level. You have to get your community behind you. This is where, when we talk about on the podcast and stuff, where we talked about, you have to get your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, whatever your situation is, your family. You need to get everybody involved. And everybody has to be involved in this because this has to be a national revolution. I said it the other day, and I'm going to say it again. I put it on one of the videos we did. I'm going to say it now. It has to be a revolution. Because the only way that it's going to happen is it's going to have to be that way. The last time we had a revolution in this country, it took everybody behind it almost. And you had the loyalists that were loyal to the king, and then you had everybody else. And that's the only way you got to change. And it's the same thing that's happened with other big things in this country because the government thinks that they're right. The government will never admit they're wrong. The only way you can ever really get the government to admit they're wrong is when you have most of the states behind that are saying this is the case. And that is what you have to do. You have to say this is the case. And you got to get your communities and you got to get your local and you got to get your state and your county governments behind you as well. Because this is the thing. If you have, let's just do the math here. But let me pull up my calculator. If you go through, and we'll just, we know there's 50 states, right? So we're going to do 50, and then we're going to times that by, that's the minus button. Back up. Times
48.
And then we're going to say we'll say 30 counties. Well, we want to go 30 on average in a state. 30 counties on average. Times that by 30. Now, we'll say in every county you get 15,000 people to support you. That's 22.5 million people. That's all 50 states. That's 30 counties in each state, and that's 15,000 people. So in each county, if you can get that many people to support you, then you're going to get it. Then you're going to get some movement. Then you're going to get, traction. Well, you say it took 3% of the population, and you told me 30 million people wouldn't even matter. 30 million people on a petition won't matter. You can write all the petitions you want. Petitions they don't pay attention to.
They're not green about you.
Petitions they don't care about. This is what happens when you get to this point, though, when you have 50 states, 30 counties, and 15,000 people in each county. That's 22.5 million people. Okay? That right there starts traction. That starts traction. And this isn't with a petition, because a petition they can just ball up and throw away. A petition is just a piece of paper. A petition is the same thing as this thing right here that I've got right here that I've been reading over. It probably ain't going to go very far either because it's some other act, and I'm not even going to put the name on it, but it was sent to me, and I went, yeah, I can wipe my butt with this thing because it ain't going nowhere. because you have to get the people involved. Petitions aren't people. Petitions are pieces of paper. That's all. When you have 22.5 million people yelling, that's a different story. Because signing a petition, you can get somebody walking down the street and be like, hey, sir or ma'am, can I get you to sign my petition to make trucking better? Oh, yeah, sure. I'll sign that for you, sir. Now write down their information and all that stuff. And then you'll go off to the next, lady or gentleman. Yeah, same thing. I'm going to, yeah, I'll sign that for you. Yeah. Well, you turn in all those pieces of paper and stuff. Nothing ever happens with them. They get round filed. It's the same way with here. Let's just look at how many acts. So, how long was this HR 25 that was put in there this year? Let's look at this HR 25 bill. Here we go. So the HR 25 bill. Let's see here. Pull it up here, please. We're lagging a little bit. Apparently, my internet's got issues today. So, surprised with it being Spectrum, but who knows? Oh, apparently Congress don't like us anymore.
We're already blacklisted.
Come on.
While you're looking that up, we're pretty damn close to 2.5 hours. I do need to be. I do want to get rested up. I do have to roll around 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, you should have told me shut up at this point.
Yeah.
You wanted to chase rabbit holes, sir.
Yeah, no. I'm glad we did. We got some. Hey, let's.
Yeah, how about we don't even worry about this?
With the Federation,
because you definitely got
Federation is all about. I want to end with this message. Listen, we're not going to be the crop. We're just getting started. Like I said, we're 6 months in. We have to bring onto the team as we grow, because honestly, it's probably going to be needed. We do have a solid foundation. The group that we have has paved that road. We ate from it. There's nobody in this group that will allow deviation from it.
Yes, sir.
This is true. Attached. We have no personal agendas attached to this.
Point, but like we just said, Matt's got to go get him a few hours of sleep here. So we've been talking for 2.5 hours here. Maybe we'll we will be back here on Friday or Saturday or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what
let's get Friday or Saturday. Let's come back on. We'll ask some questions. Let's call it for tonight. I don't want to get into the government side yet. I want to still do it. There's a lot more to talk that really needs attention.
Bubba.
You still got me?
Hello?
Hey, you got me?
You there?
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I got you,
I
man.
feel like a commercial.
We lost all audio.
I feel like I'm in that commercial. Can you hear me now? We have a lot to talk about with trucking.
Well, I think what we ought to do, I don't know about this restream that we tried tonight for Friday and Saturday, because there's been a couple of people that's wanted to come up in the box and stuff. I think we're probably just going to have to go just straight through TikTok live instead of trying to do multiple platforms.
Let's
for me to be able to try to keep up with the text, with the comments here, and you can't read the comments, only I can read the comments. And yeah, I think. We're probably going to stream and using that for multiple platforms, and we'll just.
Let's keep the stream. Let's utilize that once every week, so that way we can reach out to all the different communities and whatnot. But we will get back on TikTok on Friday or Saturday. I will be able to help with the comment side, and we'll get more into the trucking, because there's still a lot about trucking that we do need to get onto. and we need to dig into. So for tonight, God bless everybody out there. Have a Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving, brother. All the truckers out there, have a great day tomorrow on the road. I'll see you out there if you're out there. If not, we will talk to you all Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll put it out on our TikTok for everybody to know once we figure it out here come Friday morning or something like that. So, all right, buddy, be easy, man.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, later.
Take it easy.